everyone, welcome back. Today I have this nice summer friendly look, but actually this look was inspired by something that I saw on Instagram or TikTok. I don't know, not recently. Anyway, one of the makeup artists, she did this like invisible liner thing where you kind of use your own skin tone and conceal with concealer otherwise, just to bring like a nice winged liner shape like this. I tried it too, but once you watch the video, you'll come to know how I tried to balance it or work it out on my face. What were my end thoughts? Because I thought something and it turned out completely different. So watch to the end of this video to see how I created this. But this is such a nice summer friendly makeup, you know, skin is very light, cheeks are nice and dewy, you know, just like you got some sun, there's something, a little something happening on your nose. Though I will give a few tips for summer. It's summer, do not forget your sunscreen. Just the sunscreen that's usually written on like your product is not enough. You have to go with a proper sunscreen after your moisturizer, and then you can go on throw on a skin tint, a foundation, whatever kind of look that you are creating. If you have oily skin, I would recommend more of a mattifying sunscreen. There's so many today. The Unseen sunscreen from Supergoop, it's really good for this. But the eyes was something that was the main focus of this video, so I try to keep the skin more neutral looking. But you know what, let's just jump right in. Also guys, I need to know which sunscreen do y'all use. Like, do y'all use any sunscreen? Do you not use? I just wanted to know. Let me know. Alright, sit back and enjoy the video. Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. So I have already done my skincare here, gone in with some eye cream as well. Besides having gone in with sunscreen, I wanted to use a skin tint with SPF in it. So I chose this NARS one and the Rare Beauty Tinted Moisturizer, and when I blended them together, I got like a very unique shade, something that will match my skin tone very well. So I just mixed that up. And to apply it, I lightly tapped it all over my skin and just blended it until I had the right color that I had and even the right coverage too. As on my videos, you all know that I absolutely love this VASANTI corrector. And using this blending brush, I'm just lightly tapping it into the skin. Here you can see I'm just taking it over a few of these past acne pits that I have. This just helps reflect light a little more better. And again, lightly tapping it with that blending brush and blending it away. And for highlighter, I'm going to go in with this Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. My shade is in number 4, and I'm going to place this on all the high points of my face. And now using my fingers, I'm just going to let the product warm under my skin as I sort of tap it away. I feel like by tapping it in, it just melts into the skin and gives a very lit from within glow. Next, I took this LA Girl concealer in the shade Beautiful Bronze, and I just lightly used some of it for some light sculpting under my cheeks, and I went with a little bit on the top of my forehead just to bring back some warmth into the skin. I also took some on the sides of my eyes here and, you know, sort of bringing it up into the forehead. I feel like this technique really helps lift my eyes and my forehead up. So depending on the shape of your face, I would highly recommend that you play around and find what works for you. Just to give my nose an uplifted look, I'm using another shade from the LA Girl concealer, and I think this is in the shade Toast. And I'm placing it under my nose like this because, one, I wanted to lift the tip of my nose slightly. And with the remaining, I'll just place it across the bridge of my nose because I want to create that sort of fine line between sculpting and even bronzing. I also blended some of that into the start of my brows. With the beautiful bronze shade, I just wanted to sculpt my jawline a little bit, so I just drew 2 little lines underneath. I also took that bronze shade around the perimeter of my mouth just to give like the illusion of slightly larger lips. Now using that same brush, I'm just going to blend out any of those lines that were around the lips. I also took some of the beautiful bronze shade on the back of my hand, and using my finger, I lightly tapped it in the areas that I wanted to sculpt a little more and sort of bronze a little bit. And by tapping it in, I was able to place it more precisely. Now, using that same brush that had some product earlier, I'm just going to go over all these places wherever I want to bronze a lot more. Now for concealer, I went with my Born This Way concealer in the shade Warm Beige. But before going in with concealer, just remember to lightly tap under your eyes. And if any creases have formed, they'll just sort of melt away. And using the same brush, I'm just going to lightly tap and blend it into my skin. To clean up the bronzing work that I did, I also just pulled some along the sides of my face. And as you know, I always like to wait for 2 minutes before I blend out my concealer. To blend out the concealer, all I did was just tap it in with the same brush. Now, since this is an invisible liner look, or at least I'm trying to do it, I have to take some of that concealer onto my lids of both my eyes just to cancel out any pigmentation that I have. And with whatever concealer was left on that brush, I just took it around the sides of my nostrils too, just to take care of any of the redness that I might have. And with that same tapping motion, I even blended the other eye out. I always take my time to blend out my concealer because I like it to be absolutely flawless. To lightly brighten some of the parts of my face, I went in with the Born This Way concealer in Natural Beige, which is my highlight shade, and I used it very strategically in these areas. And with that same brush, once again, I went ahead and blended it, but at some point I thought that my finger was better because, you know, the warmth once again makes the product blend really well. Once again, before I go in to set my eyes, I just tapped away any concealer that might have creased in the lines. To set the concealer under my eyes, I use this Too Faced Peach Perfect powder. This powder is not available anymore, but you can actually just use anything that you're comfortable using. I took this powder under my eyes and on any areas that I wanted to reduce shine because I don't want to look like a shiny disco ball either. I usually like to draw my brows way higher than they actually are, and I think I should even do a separate video on this, but this is how I usually like to draw my brows on. For blush here, I use this Tower 28 cream blush. Now this pink is such a nice, you know, that flesh toned, um, flush cheeks kind of look. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. But I think this is the perfect color to mimic that look. So using my finger, I'm just patting this on until I reach like an intensity that I like. And I like to build it one cheek at a time just so that I do one cheek first and I then try to be as symmetrical and as even as the first one. Once I was happy with how much amount I had on my cheeks, I went ahead and added some to my temples. Again, just by patting it little by little and building intensity. And I took the rest of it on my chin just to balance out the whole face. The first set of products that I used for this liner was this concealer and this KJH brush. I took a little concealer on the back of my hand and saturated the bristles with the concealer. Using that brush, I drew a straight line out of the topmost part of my lid. And then following the direction of my lower lid, I drew the second line to meet the first line to form this little triangle. Now using this very tapered blending brush, I started very gradually blending out those lines. Upon doing this, I realized that maybe the videos that they show on TikTok don't really show the whole bit. I definitely felt like going in with this Endless Cacao Makeup Forever liner and I darkened that little sort of triangle that was there. Since the liner was very grayed out, I even went in with this Expresso pencil from Gosh. For the second eye, I used this Makeup Forever Infinite Sand pencil and this is in the shade 502. I did the exact same thing where I drew a little sort of wing on the outside part of my eye, and with the brush I went ahead and I blended it out. Once again, I felt the need to darken up that little triangle because it was just getting sort of lost in the eye, or maybe there was not too much contrast with my concealer. And even to even out the skin tone on my lid, this Makeup Forever powder really helped and just gave that one base shade. Alright, next from this Soft Glam palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, I'm going to pick up this rustic shade, and just to add a little bit more contrast, I decided to set that negative space with a little bit of the shadow on both my eyes. And just to make this look a little more interesting, I took that same shade on the innermost corners, actually right above the innermost corners of my lids from the inside and along my socket. I then curled my lashes using my Surratt eyelash curler, and since this look is very minimalistic, I went in with my telescopic mascara from L'Oreal and just gave a couple of coats to my lashes. And to slightly bring back the color on my lips, I'm just using my favorite lip tint. This is the Benetint by Benefit Cosmetics, and I'm taking it all over my lips and just patting it. Now the Benetint is not the most moisturizing formula, so just to add a little bit more moisture to my lips, I went in with this lip glow from Dior. I also went ahead and lined my lips with the MAC pencil in the shade Soar. I'm just going to use that same powder on the T-zone, just wherever I want to blur things out a bit. So mainly on the center of the forehead and around here. Let me just open my hair and feel this for a moment. You know, to be honest, it's a great summer trend. The makeup, especially on the eyes, is so minimal. It just makes it easier to take care of the rest of the makeup pretty fast. Something like this to do for me, just with like a similar colored eyeshadow as my skin underneath, I feel is far more easier because probably this is something that I've been doing for a long time. Oops. But you know, honestly, I feel this technique is a great way if you don't know how to do a winged liner or a cat liner, a cat eyeliner. I think this makeup is super summer friendly. The way your skin shows with just those skin tints is just beautiful. Look at the glow on the skin. But thank you everyone. I hope you liked this. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Bye bye. Also, I did two versions of this really cool, my version of an editorial and a wearable version of that. So I'm going to link it here. So don't forget to check it out.